Yes, we'll do a deck profile on this here Eradicator deck that we used in a tag fight. So starter, Linchu. Kind of self-explanatory. He's Linchu. He gets to eat front row. He got eaten once by a opponent, so Linchu. That was depressing. 4 heal. 4 draw. Well, 8 crit. And since this is tag fight, I'm running 4 of this one. Never got to use this skill today, but it did well considering we played about 7 rounds because we made it to top 8 and well top 4. But yeah, yeah, that crit. If you don't know what it does, when this unit is retired by your own effect, you can check the top 3 cards of your deck for an Eradicator, add it to your hand, and then shuffle this back into your deck, I believe. If I got that wrong, I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that was the correct skill. For Sentinels, I use Eradicator Perfect Guards because a special counter blast and a special discards. And you don't really need to unflip, especially because tag fights are awkward because you don't know which one of you two are going to soak up the most damage in a game. I've had games where I've only had like 2 damage and my partner had all the rest. And other games where I had all the damage and my partner had like none. So yeah, you never know what'll happen. So I'm playing Demolition Dragons at max because this is tag fight, and I'd like to get the more pressure off earlier because a lot of people I assumed were gonna run G-Era decks, which are a lot slower, which is why you can just punish them because they can't go off or do anything at early game, and Limit Break goes off much faster. I decided to tech in some Always just in case because I knew I was gonna run Tempest Bolt. So on ride, this would be early game kind of rush, and then if they rush me back or something, I can just snipe a front row in case I played against Aquaforce. Never got the matchup all day today. I don't know if you guys just like glare. You can see my cards, but yeah, I got to kill a unit in my deck. The other Eradicator, I'll show you in a second. Really helped out because I didn't want to deal with it. I'm running 3 of the Unflipper. Never used his skill, never had him at the right time to unflip damage. Honestly, I probably would have preferred these to be Stride Enablers or something, but the special counterblasting and the special discarding for Eradicators did help a lot. But yeah, having Stride Enablers might have saved my life at some point. Only twice today, against the same people, I could not stride frequently enough. So this is the unit that I got to kill with my Awe. This is Shub, I guess, but we all call him Scrub because it almost looks like that. But yeah, if you don't know what a skill is, basically when it attacks the Vanguard and you have an Eradicator Vanguard, you can pay the cost. Soul Blast 1 gains plus 1000 for each fighter's open rear guard, and it's also unable to be blown up by your Tempest Bolt because of his other skill where you can't be retired by your own effects. So yeah, you can Tempest Bolt bomb and he stays on board. Never got to do it. Never had him when I would bomb the board. But yeah, it's really nice. And then the fact that it says all fighters open rear guard, so that includes your partner and your opponent and your opponent's partner. So this thing applied a lot of early game pressure because it was too big to guard. And late game, when you conquest, it gets huge. I think 40 was my highest column with it. Continuing grade 2s, I ran 4 Spark Rain. For the same reason I do in my sweep deck. Less commitment. Conquest that hits really good numbers. And it's early game rush down too. And then rounding off 2s, 3 Zuitan. Reason why I did this is because my partner was playing Monarch Alfred. Basically the whole strategy was he would be able to replenish his field if I bombed, if they committed, if we played against rearguard heavy decks like Aquaforce or Neonectar who just, you know, commit their boards. But yeah, since we didn't actually end up playing against those, it didn't work as planned. But this is still really good because you ride it with the Linchu and you get a free retire basically for a solo charge 1 of the Linchu. It also, yeah, it helped get soul for things that, like my grade 2 that soul blasted, or the unflipper if I ever got to use it. So yeah, I did use up a lot of soul because of that, and Zuitons kind of help get soul if they hit. Usually only goes off early game though. And then going to the threes, the three threes that were doing absolutely nothing the entire time. Sweep command. I'd probably only be running 2 of them, but I don't have a 4th copy of the ace of the deck. But yeah, my reasoning behind still using sweep is because his limit break is a lot easier to get off, since you can use his limit break if you ride him, assuming you can just take the 4 damage, and then you can eat something or use Owlway or something like that to kill a front row, and then you can use his limit break, counterblast 2, soul blast 2 to draw. It's not bad, and he gives himself plus 5,000. You can retire another front row if they had one. But yeah, and then the main grade 3 of the deck, Tempest Bolt. I only have 3. I would have definitely played 4, definitely taken out a sweep command for it. But yeah, so his skill, the one that's probably the more terrifying, is his limit break, which is the counterblast. The Eradicator's bomb the entire board, all fighters. So you can basically punish the rearguard heavy decks or decks that, you know, are just too aggressive or something. And if that's not the case, it also has its passive skill for every open rearguard circle, or its continuous skill, I guess. Yeah, for every open rearguard circle, it gains plus 2,000, including all fighters again. So he was hitting 30 to 40,000s very easily without using his limit break because of the lack of commitment some players made. If I didn't stride, which I was striding almost every game except for the 2 we lost to the people who ended up winning. But yeah, basically the strides really supported this deck, along with the Tempest Bolt playing mind games and just the pressure it can put off with the grade 2 rearguards that are like mini Tempest Bolts for the continuous skill. And then the last 2 tech Descendants. I actually got to use Descendant once. It completely crippled someone's hand because they were at 8. I used his special counterblast. I attacked for 23. He could only guard me for 2, and then he perfect guarded the second one, and then they pretty much had to drop their entire hands for the other ones. But yeah, it's just there for that finisher, assuming you either run out of strides or well, if you run out of conquest, really, because conquests are the big pressure, or if they have a really small hand, at least on the player in front of you, because and the player on the other side was moderate to low. Because yeah, this could just, if they don't have the perfect guard, they're in a really awkward spot because it stands again. It's my only restander, but it applies a different kind of pressure instead of conquest if you can't go into it. Because I had games where I ran out of strides and was actually on Descendant and was actually able to abuse him. But yeah, that's basically why it's there. It's a nice finisher, but you usually want to be on Tempest Bolt as your main Vanguard and just keep striding. But yeah, Descendant's there for the final push, really. And that was basically the entire main deck. I keep forgetting that there's G-Zones. But yeah, it's the same thing as my other Eradicator build. That one Blizza, I feel like realistically I should not have ran the Blizza for this tournament, but I haven't found that much of a need to have a 4th Zoros right now. So it's been working out pretty nicely. But the 4 conquests I've used and abused as much as I could, because conquest plus the 8k scrub basically just really punish them and their hands. Especially, it either put them to high damage or just completely destroyed their hands because of how high it could hit. and it did make some people second guess their rules, because when they had to read Tempest Bolt or the Scrub, he'd basically, they're like, that's pretty broken for tag. It's like, I'm really surprised there's only one other person running this combo, and we played the mirror match against him, and he was the fighter across from me who was playing this deck too, but thankfully he wasn't well versed with using the deck, so he basically just did some awkward things, and he was running Vowing Sword. I'm not sure why you'd want to run Vowing Sword, because it's too slow in my opinion, but I mean, I guess you can like Vowing Sword, Break Ride, kill a front row, and then Stride into Conquest or something, but I didn't see any Stride enablers in his deck either, so not too sure about that. But yeah, that's basically the entire deck. See you guys.